into threading the top part of the machine. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my spool of thread on the spool pin. So again, this thread is crisscross, so that is why I'm using the horizontal spool pin. And just like we did with the bobbin, we are going to start out by going to the first thread guide. So you always want to go to the one that's straight off the thread. So there's a little hook on the back here. So I'm just going to take my thread and hook it through the thread. All right, so this is a different angle, just so that you can see the hook I'm talking about. So again, I have my thread in my hands. I'm going to hold it like I'm flossing my teeth, and I'm just going to hook it in here, and then it goes to the front. Okay, so I've gotten my thread through that hook in the back, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to come down this front channel here like that. Now this arrow here tells me to go back up, so I'm going to take my thread up, and then there's an arrow at the top here that I'm going to do a little, I go down to the back basically, and then back around. And when I do that, it's very, very important that you get your thread right in here through the thread take-up lever. If you don't do this, then you're going to notice a lot of troubles as you're sewing. Okay, so the last step for the top part of our machine is that we have to go through some thread guides by our needle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my thread, again like I'm flossing my teeth, and I'm just going to hold it still with my left hand, and then with my right hand I'm actually going to push it. There's a little thread guide right here. I'm just going to push it through like that, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold it tight like I'm flossing my teeth. This time with my right hand I'm going to hold it still, and with my left hand there's a little teeny tiny hook right here, and I'm going to get through here. Now for the tricky part is we are going to thread the needle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my shears and I'm just going to snip my thread so it's nice and fresh and sharp. And then when you're threading your needle, you're going to want to hold your thread about, let's see if you can see that, I'd say about that far away from the end. So now I'm going to get it to the needle, and then once I get it through the needle, I'm not going to grab it right away. I'm going to actually use my index finger of my right hand, and I'm going to hold it in place. Then with my left hand, I can come and grab it. If I just left it and then came in and grabbed it like this, sometimes what can happen is you'll push the thread back through, and after spending a lot of time threading your needle, it can be frustrating to do that. Now, I'm not sure if you can see this here, but in this presser foot, there's a little slot here. Some machines have the slot here. Some of them have it in the center of the presser foot. I'm just going to take my thread and I'm going to get it through that slot. And then we always want our thread to go down to the back of our machine. It just makes starting sewing a little bit more easy. The final step of the machine is getting the bobbin and bobbin casing into the machine. So you can see I grabbed the bobbin casing and I grabbed number 25 because that's the machine number I have. You always want to make sure that you grab the right bobbin casing for the right machine. It just helps me keep track of them, and then also each machine might have slight differences and the bobbin casings need to go with the proper machine. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to keep this little spiky guy at the top, and I'm going to put in my bobbin. So when I put my bobbin in and I pull, you can see those circles move, right? I want those circles to go clockwise. So if you look again, as I'm pulling it, they are going counterclockwise. So I'm gonna grab my bobbin, just let it fall out, and then I flipped it over and I'll put it back in. So now if I pull on them, you can see they're going clockwise. Okay, so now that's one step done, but now we need to get the bobbin thread from here, and then it comes all the way to here. Okay, so I'm going to hold my bobbin with my fingers here, and that way when I pull on the thread, the bobbin doesn't unwind. It will just keep it still. So you can see here, there's a little tiny groove. So I want my thread to go down that groove, and it just slips in there. And then I'm going to pull my thread so it goes along here, and then it comes out here like that. You'll notice here that there is a hole in the top of this part. If we're doing a buttonhole, that's when you want to use that. You want a little bit more tension, but for everyday sewing, we don't need to go through this, okay? So we're just going to go down the little slot and then along the edge. Alrighty, so the last part is we want to get our bobbin into the bobbin casing. So this is right underneath the needle plate. There's a little door, so on the left side you can just open the door really gently. I'm tilting the machine back just so you can get a really good view of the inside. You can see here, or maybe you can't see, but you'll be able to feel near the top of the machine there's a little cutout from the circle, and that is how we know which direction to put the bobbin casing in. So if you see this, we want that to line up with that part, and when I have it in there you can see it just rests perfectly. But if I put the bobbin in differently, so if I put it in like that, you can see it's not fully tucked in. So you want it to be in that spot right at the top of the machine. Okay, now I want you to listen for the sound. So if you don't hear the sound, your bobbin's not in the machine properly and you can do some serious damage. Okay, so you're gonna push and it really snaps and clicks into place. Then I can't push it around at all. Okay, so I'm gonna take it out just to show you to take it out, and I'll do the click in one more time. So to take the bobbin out, this is actually like a little lever, and it helps you get the bobbin out. It also locks your bobbin in place, so I'm not the bobbin's not dropping out because I'm holding that and it's locking your bobbin in the bobbin casing. Okay, so you want to be gentle with these doors. I've had students break them off in the past. If that does happen, please just let me know and find all the parts and we can get it repaired. So again, I'm putting it in here, making sure it's lined up. I can feel it at the top here. Now I'm going to press it in. Okay, so now it's ready to go. And the final step to threading your machine is I'm going to hold my top thread here. My bobbin's all ready to go. I'm going to turn my hand wheel, and we always turn it towards ourselves. So I'm going to turn it so my needle goes all the way down and then all the way up. And the way we know that it's all the way up is that your thread take-up lever is at the top. So at one point you probably thought that it was at the top, but it wasn't. So I looked at my thread take-up lever, made sure it was at the top, and now you can see there's actually a little loop here. So that is my bobbin thread. You don't know this, but my machine's off because I'm going to be putting my fingers here. You want to make sure it's off. So now I have two threads. One is coming from the bobbin down here. One's coming from the top. So I'm just going to push my thread to the back of the machine. I'm going to make sure that I have about this much thread. So your, index fingers, maybe 5 centimeters of thread. And then I'm going to put this up and I'm ready to sew.